You talked about the difference between the level of authenticity and candor privately and the level of authenticity and candor publicly. There's a middle ground there that's become a focal point this week, thanks to people realizing that something is off with Tom Brady being the Fox broadcaster who's in all of the various hen houses and is sitting there with a headset on, shoulder to shoulder with the coaches for the Raiders until he sees himself on the screen and hits the button and shrinks down in his chair so he might not be noticed. That's the communication with the broadcasters, and you've been there on both sides of it. The things that are said are not said, and now you've got fans and media concerned that maybe people are going to say too much, especially this week with the Bears having Brady in, and then next week the Bears play the Raiders. I mean, what are your thoughts generally about this, how teams should handle it, how big of a deal it is? I'm going to kind of give you an open palette here to just say whatever you want to say, an open canvas. Use your palette on the canvas. What are your thoughts on this production meeting issue as it relates to Brady?
I'm going to use that canvas you're giving me, and I'm going to tell you a story from 2004. It was my last year playing. I played with the Cowboys for 8 years, and I played with the Giants for 4, and I was kind of at a crossroads at the end of my career. Should I keep playing? Should I get into coaching? I had a chance to do a little broadcasting. So I ended up going down to Tampa Bay, and I was one of 4 quarterbacks there. Brad Johnson was the starter, and the 2 backups were Brian Griese and our good friend Chris Sims. And so I was the 4th guy. I was 38 years old. And, those guys were the guys who were going to make the team. I knew that. But it's the first time I allowed myself to kind of think about what was next. And coaching was a possibility. So John Gruden was the head coach. Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator. There was a lot of great stuff going on down there. So I went down there and I kind of viewed it as graduate school in football. So I was part of the whole thing. At the end of training camp, they end up releasing me. They keep the other 3 quarterbacks. And I had a chance to announce a game in New Orleans. I think it was week 4. It was Tampa Bay at New Orleans. And so I was working for Fox, and it was the first game that I had done. I had done some NFL Europe games. And so it's the same deal. We had a production meeting on Saturday at one of the hotels in New Orleans. John Gruden comes in. A month ago I was playing for him. Now I'm asking him questions about the game and da-da-da-da. And then on the other side, Jim Haslett was the coach of New Orleans. Mike McCarthy was the offensive coordinator. I'm conducting the production meeting. Well, it turns out Sims rolls left in the middle of the second quarter, gets hit from behind and gets tackled hard, hurts his shoulder. He's going to be out for a month. I got a call from Bruce Allen at halftime. He said, "Hey, Sims is going to be out for a month. We're going to sign you." And so literally, he said, "Come back on the team playing." I said, "No, I can't. I got to go home first." But it's a long story. I went down there on Monday, and I was with them for a month. And so I remember seeing Haslett later. He's like, "It was ridiculous. I was sitting in that meeting with you, and I was telling you, everything about our team, and 24 hours later, you're with a division rival." So I do think there's an issue there. I do think there's a conflict of interest. I know they're trying to put some rules and regulations around Tom, and you know what I think of Tom. I mean, he's greatness. He's arguably the greatest player that's ever played in the NFL, and I love what he's doing with ownership, the TV stuff, all of that. But I do think there needs to be a line there somewhere, because when you go in these production meetings, if done well, you can get a lot of great information. And if you're a part owner on the other side, it can certainly benefit your team to have that information. So I don't like it. I think it's a bad look. I think they need to clean it up somehow.
Hey, Coach, one last thing real quickly.
Hey, Mike, did you like my story?
That was great. That's an awesome story. I love your story. And one of the things, you've always got a great story. I love it when you have a story. And it's like your brain is a supercomputer where you know exactly which story to access to fit which moment. And it's always a great story. I have heard, this is 4 seasons now, many, many great stories from you.
Hey, do you want to hear? Do I have any more canvas left? Because I got the rest of that story. Do you want to hear it?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll give you the remaining time.
On that same day, Rich Gannon got hurt in Oakland. He was going to be out for the year. He hurt his neck. The backup quarterback was Kerry Collins, who was the guy I backed up in New York for 4 years. Norv Turner was the head coach. So Norv called me that night and said, hey, Gannon's out. He's going to be out for the year. We'd like to sign you. So I went from being a broadcaster to have an opportunity to go sign with Tampa.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.